Oh boy. We got, oh yeah, Kimber. Let's make sure she's empty before we really get into it. We are at the tabletop again, and we're doing a full high definition. Make sure you crank that baby up, and we're going to take a look at the Kimber Desert Warrior in flat dark earth, hence Desert Warrior in full high definition. But let's go ahead, and I wanted to just show the box real quick. And of course, Kimber, we all know, name's upside down, but it's just means quality. And we'll go ahead and talk about some of that, just some of the stuff that you get in the box, not to rehash the actual review again, but you get the lock and everything here. And then here is their magazine that I torture tested, and you can see the results there. Anyway, all right, let's get this out of the way. The main reason I kind of wanted to do this was because of the color. When I was going to buy this gun, and the main reason I wanted to buy it was because of the color, that cool flat dark earth color. And there's some things that I wanted to know about it. And now to show you this is a book. This is they're called the 1911 The First 100 Years book by Patrick Sweeney, and they have a beautiful picture of the gun in the back right there. And the pictures of this gun is sometimes almost misleading, because if you look at the picture and the color, okay, and you look at the actual gun, I mean, it's almost the same, but that one in the picture actually almost looks more green. But anyway, I wanted to really show this thing to you. It's not like a flat matte color. It's got like more of like a satin gloss look to it, if that shows up there on HD. Anyway, there's a lot of things to be said about Kimber. They're 1911. My impressions, I've had the gun for over a year now, and I've been shooting it, and I love this thing. I've got no complaints about it. Kimber's customer service, which we'll get into, is excellent. And there were some things, you know, of course, there's a lot of things being said about it, and you know, as with everything, I think no matter what brand it is, no matter what you got, I think there's always going to be somebody that had a bad experience with it. And you know, as we all know, bad news travels faster than good news. So anyway, but I have, you know, I first got this thing, it was pretty much brand new. What I experienced was the slide would actually lock back with their rounds. There would be still rounds in the magazine. So actually I called Kimber. They told me it was the result of a slide stop having too much metal, just didn't get fitted properly. They sent me one immediately. I received it in the mail in a couple of days. If you guys have seen the very first video I did with this thing, I posted it up on the channel. It's been over a year now. It's been up. I know it hasn't gotten too many views, but it's there. We actually, I mean, I don't really necessarily like to abuse my guns, but in this case, because of all the I just kept hearing all this stuff. Like back when I was first trying to buy this thing, all this stuff like, oh, Kimber's jam, and all the, you know, there's a bunch of negative stuff really that's saying that it jams. You can't even strip off. Basically, I came out with a lot of people saying to me that you couldn't even fire 7 rounds without a jam. So in a sense, I wanted to test that out. I put the gun in a puddle of mud with water and everything, let it soak through. I actually put it into cement sand and did not clean it and fired it. And I also, that day we got rained out pretty heavily. The tarp that we had laid down to catch the brass was collecting a lot of water, so I actually soaked this gun completely submerged in the collected water on the tarp and everything. Of course, none of these testings are anything, you know, scientific or you would say brutal or anything like that. I mean, some maybe say it's brutal, but it was just mainly me, backyard style, the real deal. I felt as I could bring to you with everything that I could, you know, with my disposal to do it without just like completely destroying this $1,500 gun. But as you can see, the finish holds up really well, and that was one of my concerns. And now I did run it through a holster a few times. The only wear I ever actually saw was just a little bit on the corner, which is actually not even anything to really complain about. The most part, the finish is absolutely still intact. Gun runs like a champ. I had friends that don't really shoot pistols too much shoot this thing, was being able to be very accurate with it and everything. The gun is very sexy. This is the one, far as I can say, is really souped up that I own, because it's got everything. I mean, it's got the fancy serrations that angle kind of forward, spaced out. They're a little bit more, how would you say, larger than your traditional vertical ones on your traditional 1911s. They space them out and then they angle them kind of forward, which I like because it gives a better grasp when you're racking the slide. The sights are Meprolites. They do have the glow in the dark feature. So, and then of course the high ride beaver tail, ambidextrous extended thumb safety on both sides. I'm a lefty, so that's really a cool feature for me. Definitely, you know, you got the serrations or memory groove with the bump out, flat mainspring housing with the lanyard loop, which is cool because that's traditional to the old military kind of style. And I actually like a arched mainspring housing, but because they put the lanyard loop and the checkering is really nice and aggressive on this thing, I've just kind of dealt with it and left it that way. Now I must say, the original grips I switched out. These are Magpul MOE grips. I did another video on that. You can check that out on the channel. These are the original grips. The only reason I switched them out really was because they're rather thick. They caused the gun to have a real thick grip, and I don't have the largest hands in the world, so I actually kind of, I mean, I fired them no problem with the stock grips here, but I just over time started to realize that they were just a little too thick for my liking. I started to look into the Magpul grips, and they're slimmer, they're aggressive, pretty good aggressive checkering on there. They have a nice cutout there. Even as a lefty, I feel that my index finger does fit right nice in there and everything. So, and they're really cheap. So I, you know, got those on there running those. But I always would keep the original grips because they're pretty heavy duty. They're made out of some kind of tough material. I'm not sure exactly what they're made out of, but and it's got a very interesting checkering. So, and it kind of does accent the gun a little bit. It's alright, but I kind of like the black on the FD, the Flat Dart Earth stuff. So, it's really cool. Kimber is also, you know, kind of as a production gun, yet still has custom touches. And for the money, I think this is about as good as you can get without spending, of course, the $5,000 and up on some of the higher end 1911s, you know, with the Ed Brown name on it, the Wilson Combat, and etc, etc, etc. This one I bought off a gun broker, and I got a really good deal on it. It came from a pawn shop. The guy said, you know, it's practically brand new. It, you know, really hasn't been fired, but, you know. So when I actually got it, I checked the breech face, and it was pretty much all there. And when I'm referring to that, what I mean is the finish. This Kimber Pro 2 finish is what they call it, on the breech face. It was still there. I don't know if it'll show up on camera here, but you can see it's worn now because I've been shooting the gun quite a bit. Anyway, so just wanted to just kind of give you guys a look at this thing in full high def. The finish, you know, the finish sometimes in different photos I noticed has a way of changing, and hopefully this video will show you that what the finish actually looks like. The lighting in here is pretty good, so, and of course it's in full high def, so you can be able to see it, and it hasn't really worn anywhere. Of course in the internal parts it's warm in some areas, so I just wanted to show this thing to you. That's really cool. There's only some things that I want to change out, which is the grip screws. They're they require like an Allen key, which I don't like. I want the traditional slotted ones, so in case they ever come loose, anything that can fit in there, your thumbnail, a coin, whatnot, you can retighten them back. And the same goes for the magazine release right there. It's got to take out the magazine release is this, it's like a smaller Allen key, which I don't like. So, and then I did blue my barrel, and the reason for that was when I bought this gun, it's actually just bare metal, and I've read a lot of people saying that their Kimber barrels are rusting. So I actually encountered a little bit of that. Mine would rust, so I just went ahead and blued it. And so honestly, it's got that black versus flat dark earth thing going again. I mentioned that before, but I kind of like it. So anyway, that's kind of it. I just didn't want to make this video too long, just kind of show it to you high def and just see what you're getting. You know, I'm not being paid from Kimber or anything, so I just wanted to show you guys. It's a really great pistol. I really like it. I've had a lot of good results with it, so. And yeah, definitely. So I'm Bad Jack JW. I appreciate you guys watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and check out my other videos with this gun. And that's all I got to say about that.